The following video is just going to be a quick montage I put together of all the different setups that we've had while building our Twitch studio, because it didn't just look like this, like it just popped into the world and excellence was made. It went through a long, arduous process of sucking. And there was many revisions, changes, tables, desks, you name it. So you'll see that in the video of all the different stuff we shifted around, and I think we're kind of crazy. I'm definitely crazy. But it, in the end, turned out really well. So enjoy that video and watch all the suffering that I went through to get this just how it looks now.
It's battery low time!
All right, for those of you who watched our last Twitch Not Live presentation on resolutions and on different sync options for monitors, I'm recording this video just after that video because it took a while to do. I originally was planning to do a comparison on SLI versus single card and do some benchmarks, which is still something I have planned for when I get back, but that was just way too much work to do before I go on vacation, and I leave at 4 in the morning and I can't be at the office. If I could just be here forever, I could do it, but at some point they all want to lock up and go home, and I don't blame them. So I'm just doing a quick video that's going to be a studio tour to show you all what it looks like while I render the last video, and just talk a little bit about what my setup is and what I'm using. So let me get up and kind of walk around here so you can see. Let's start out and work our way in. I'm going to go to the door here. Boom. We're outside of the studio. And now, there it is in all its wondrous glory. So yes, we've got a wraparound table system, which is cool. That was actually a pain to find and get. We got stupid lucky and got those for really cheap. They're motorized. We got them for very cheap. Next up, we have our microphone on my old camera crane. I ordered this with Digital Storm like years and years ago, and it's been collecting dust because I've gotten better technology and I just didn't need it. So now I've got a shock mount, a mic arm, and I've got our Blue Yeti mounted to it. And these are fantastic microphones. I really, really like this microphone. It's worked really well for us, has good pickup, and it's not that expensive. I just have, it's USB, so very easy, plug and play, does what we need it to do. The thing I'm really happy about is putting this on the camera crane. So a lot of times if I'm doing a tall project, I need the mic to be up higher to be out of shot, but if I'm doing something smaller, I put it down to me, get a little bit more fidelity, and I'm a little bit closer to the mic, which is great. This sorts that problem out. Plus, when I need to do this, like get under the microphone and go somewhere, I can move it without having to adjust a bunch of goofy, fiddly stuff. So I am stupid happy with that. It's simple, but I love it. Our filming lights, I have a combination of different CFL lights from various different brands. Probably too much to go in right now. I've got Impacts and Floras, and they work well. I used to shoot on the EBW Photo Floods, and they were really, really good for cooking a ham and exploding randomly because they sucked and they lasted 6 hours. And if anything got on the bulb, they got really, really angry about that and exploded like a flashbang in Counter-Strike. So those suck. I'm really glad that we don't use them anymore. And CFLs are great. I can let these burn like all day, and they're relatively cool. They don't have inconsistent lighting. They're whatever color they are, they're going to be that color. So that is great. For sound and noise isolation, We have Cubicle Walls. I was hanging up foam, and it's great. It's very expensive, or expensive enough where I didn't want to fill an entire wall. But we have our old cubicles. In fact, that's my old cubicle wall from when I was in phone staff. I know it is because I had a bunch of T-pins and various crap stuck in it, and that was the one that was in the back. So it was good to see my old cubicle wall and put it to use. And I've got more foam, like little pieces, diffusers and corners, like right there. Sorry, this is like super avant-garde, but it gets you a good idea of our setup. I put more foam up here, partly to absorb sound, and partly because it looks cool. So if the camera ever pans up, you see cool foam instead of gross office tiles, which are not good at all. So that kind of covers the basics of everything around me. Now let me talk a little bit more about our setup. So we went back and forth when we were deciding to do this Twitch stream. And originally I had everything running on one computer, then we switched over to doing a dual stream computer, and I tried sending video over Ethernet, and I would rather cower under my desk and vomit than ever go back to doing that, because that's essentially what it made me want to do. It was terrible. It would work and it wouldn't work, and I don't recommend doing the whole video over Ethernet thing. You're going to save some money because the Ethernet card was like $5, but you're going to pay for it by making the brain vein happen and the migraines. No, I don't recommend it. It just, I would recommend doing something along the lines of what we did. We're running USB capture cards for HDMI. So I have an Elgato HD60 and we have a Razer capture device. They work really well. And I have those run into the stream PC down here. And those handle input from the game PC and from the Panasonic GH4 camera, which is over here. They do a great job. I'm not having any problems with dropped frames. They're very smooth. So that brings us on to the hardware inside of this computer. The Stream PC is a i7 7700K. It's got 16 gigs of DDR4. I cannot remember the speed. And it has a GTX 980 Strix, which is more than enough to handle all of our streaming. And that system so far has worked well. We use OBS, Open Broadcast Software. I love the software. It's the only broadcasting software I've used so far, so if anyone's asking about XSplit, no idea, haven't used it. I'd love to get my hands on it and play with it at some point, but right now, OBS is what I started with, and I am extremely happy with it. I will say I will never go back to using Fraps, even for basic stuff. I know that it uses frame counters, and that's cool, but for actually recording footage, no Fraps. I will go OBS. It works really well. Our gaming PC is definitely a beast. It is a... Let's see what we have here. It is a Rampage motherboard and a i7 6950X 10-core 20-thread Extreme processor, which is awesome. Not just for gaming, but I do a lot of video editing on this rig, which is why we went with higher core count, lower clock speeds versus going for like an i7 7700 and cranking it to the moon. So this is a really good balance. Currently, I have two GTX 1070s MSI in SLI. It's normally these Asus Strix 980s, and these will be going back in there, but I changed them to do a video that I'm working on for a few weeks from now. So that's what's currently in there. It does a great job. The monitor is the Asus 34-inch 3440 by 1440 4K ultra-wide monitor, IPS. I don't have the exact model number on this particular video for that. I love this monitor. I do a lot of my production work on it. I can also switch over and do gaming at 100 hertz. It supports G-Sync, and it's honestly very rare to find a monitor where you can have good gaming performance and then also switch over and do photo and video work and have it function properly. I mean, I have an Asus ProArt monitor in my main office, and that definitely is a better monitor for color accuracy and just for better color representation and contrast representation. So I wouldn't say that this is a full-on professional monitor, but you can definitely do professional work on it, and it's a gaming monitor, which is great. It does both needs, which is exactly what we needed for this studio. So couldn't be happier with that. It's perfect. I have the Asus ROG Spatha mouse. It's the big mouse that people comment continually that's very expensive, and they're not wrong. I like this thing. I actually bought one at home, so I'm very happy with this because I do a lot of video editing and photo when I'm not on camera talking to you all. This is heavy, and it's comfortable, and I really, really like it. We have the Spatha, or the ROG Claymore keyboard, which is another Asus product. Solid, we have it in cherry browns, which are my favorite keys so far. Haven't used blacks, or haven't used some of the other keys. I know that my absolute keyboard spirit animal is the IBM Model M, and since nothing on the market that I've touched is that close, I've heard some of the Omrons are kind of cool, but this is as close to that as I've gotten so far. So very happy with that. Has cool RGB LEDs, and it doesn't have the number pad, which is great because I personally don't use it. I know a lot of people do. I just never was on with that. So yeah, I don't have that. Takes up less space. Looks cool. So that's pretty much all the hardware in our Twitch studio right now. I'm going to give you just a quick spin around so you all can take a look at everything. So, oh yes, I forgot our other microphone. So the microphone that I use when I'm gaming is a Audio-Technica AT2020, and it is on a Rode PSA 1 stand. If you're thinking of buying a mic stand, there's the cheap eBay one that's like $17, and they're good. I mean, they do a good job. Go with the Rode. If you have the money, go with the Rode. It's so much better made. I mean, they both get the job done, but something that I'm touching and I'm moving a lot, this just feels better. So anyways, I've probably rambled on enough. I hope I've made this video as interesting as possible. And yeah, that's just a quick tour of our streaming studio here. So thank you very much for your time, and you all have a good day. I will be back next week to continue business as usual.